Hey guys, so at the beginning of the month I was contacted by a company called iClassics, which is based in Barcelona, Spain, and makes these really amazing apps based on classic literature. Now they had asked me if I would be willing to make a video to help them promote their newest app, which is a take on a Sherlock Holmes mystery, and I had to say yes. Now I put ad in the title of this video just to be safe, but this is not sponsored whatsoever. I was just very impressed by the apps themselves, as well as their kind of overall mission, which is really to make classics not only more available to people, but to make them an interactive experience and to hopefully appeal to the up-and-coming generation of readers. So what they came up with was this Save the Classics tag, and I will leave all of the questions down in the description box in case you would like to do this for yourselves. But for now, let's jump right into it. I had a really hard time with this question because there are so many classics that I have really loved over the years and that I have reread over and over again, so I managed to narrow it down to 3. And of course, I have to start off with the Jane Austen novel, which is Sense and Sensibility. This is, of course, about the Dashwood sisters, Marianne and Eleanor, who are, of course, representing Sense and Sensibility. Marianne is the sense sister. She is very much a romantic, very dramatic, while Eleanor, the elder sister, is all about sensibility and practicality and being down to earth. I know most people will say that Pride and Prejudice is their favorite Jane Austen novel, but for me, Sense and Sensibility takes the cake. I just think that the contrast between the two sisters is fantastic, and it gives a little bit of something for everybody. Whether you're a romantic or a more practical person, you'll find something to laugh about here in this book, and I would highly recommend it if you haven't checked it out already. Another classic that has to be a favorite is The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. Now I honestly could not tell you how many times I have reread this book, and this is actually my second copy because my first copy was starting to fall apart. The pages were separating from the spine, so now I have a new one. This is a classic that I first read in middle school, I believe, and one that I definitely recommend to people over and over again because it is not only an adventure story, but it's part social commentary, part humorous coming of age tale, part exploration of early America, and I think you can really get as much out of it as you want. If you want to just look at it as more surface level adventure follow-up to Tom Sawyer, you can do that. If you want to look at it as a social commentary on pre-Civil War America, you can do that. And then this next one, I'm not sure if this is more of a modern classic, but this is definitely one of my favorites, As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. Now this might seem like a little bit of a weird choice, but something about this just really appeals to me. This is about the Bundren family who are basically traveling to lay their matriarch Addie to rest after she has finally died in the beginning of the novel. As they travel with her dead body, the family, which was already kind of in tatters, starts to disintegrate even further, and this is just another example of a classic that you can look at on multiple levels. You can look at it just as a family drama or as a social commentary, or as both, and I love it. I love this one a lot. Hands down, Jane Austen. I feel like she would bring everything that she gives to you in her books. She would be witty and clever and funny and have some really astute observations about the people around you, and I imagine she would be a fantastic dinner companion. This was a really hard question because I couldn't think of a single character that I fit perfectly, so what I did was mashed up a bunch of Jane Austen heroines. So if you took kind of the solitary nature of Anne Elliot from Persuasion and added that with the practicality and kind of no-nonsense attitude of Eleanor from Sense and Sensibility, and then added a little bit of Lizzie Spunk from Pride and Prejudice, I think you might get something close to me, hopefully. I believe the first ever proper classic novel I read was Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. My mom gave me this copy actually when I was about 10 years old, and I absolutely devoured this. I don't remember being super intrigued at first, but then once I started reading, I couldn't put it down. This is, of course, about Tom Sawyer, a young boy who lives in the South with his aunt and cousin, and just basically gets into shenanigans. He's trying to make what he feels is a boring life as interesting as possible, and he gets into loads of adventures, lots of trouble, and it's just so much fun to read. I'm going to have 2 answers for this question, but the first classic I would recommend would be Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. Now I feel like a lot of people really love the story of Peter Pan and they love the idea of Neverland, but they're familiar with them because of either the play or the Disney film, which is totally fine, but the book is kind of magical. If you like Neverland, there are so many more details about it in the book. If you like pirates pirate adventures. The pirate adventure is even better in the book, and more importantly for me, there is one of my favorite character interactions in all of the literature that I have read so far. "Proud and insolent youth," said Hook, "prepare to meet thy doom." "Dark and sinister man," Peter answered, "have at thee." Another classic I would definitely recommend is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. Now this is about a young girl named Francie who lives with her family in, obviously, Brooklyn, New York, between about 1902 and 1919, and it's really just a beautiful coming-of-age story. You get to see her family struggling financially, you get to see Francie grow up and going through her first love and her first job and kind of realizing that there's a bigger world out there, and it's just really beautiful and definitely one of the first like longer classics that I ever read. So those were all of the questions to the Save the Classics tag, which was brought to you by the amazing people over at iClassics. And again, all the questions will be in the description along with the link to their website, so please go check them out if you have a minute. Like I mentioned at the beginning, they just released a new app which is an interactive Sherlock Holmes adventure based on the Scandal in Bohemia story. So if you like Sherlock Holmes, I would highly suggest you check it out. They have really incredible illustrations and animation that interact with the text, and it's just a very unique classics reading experience, and I would highly suggest it, especially if you're trying to get younger readers into classics. And then of course the point of a tag is to have other people do this as well, so I would like to tag Katie from Books and Things, Whitney from All the Shelves, and Holly from Holly Dunn Design, aka Library at the Edge of the World. And then of course if you guys would like to do the tag as well, please feel free to check out the questions below. But for me, that's all I have today, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye!